Hello, this is Derek with Your Sign, which is a part of Fries at the Bottom of the Bag, uh, where we talk about astrology, all things astrology. And today we're going to be embarking on Beginner's Astrology Part 1. This is going to be part of a series, a beginner series that we're going to do. Now, I'm not sure how many parts this is going to be, but maybe it'll be about 5 to 6, maybe 7 parts, maybe a little longer, just depending on how much we can cover. But this will be the beginners astrology. We're going to talk about some key aspects of astrology, some historical context, and some of the misconceptions about astrology as well. So let's go ahead and begin. What is astrology? Astrology is a practice that involves the study of the positions and movements of celestial bodies, such as planets, stars, and the moon, in the belief that they have an influence on human affairs and natural phenomena. It operates on the premise that there is a connection between the macrocosm, which is the universe, and the microcosm, individual lives. The origins of astrology can be traced back to ancient civilizations like Babylon, Egypt, and Greece, and it has evolved through various cultures, including Indian, Chinese, and Western traditions. Now, this is the historical perspectives on astrology. Claudius Ptolemy, 2nd century CE, an influential figure in astrology. Ptolemy wrote in Tetrabiblos, which was a foundational text of astrology. Well, he wrote the Tetrabiblos. Now, he proposed that astrology is a way to understand the divine and intelligent nature of the universe, stating, "The study of astrology's most lawful projections serves to show that the universe is a rational place, deserving our study on that account." Now, the Tetrabiblos, often referred to as the Tetrabibelion, is a foundational text in the field of astrology, written by Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century AD. Ptolemy was a Greek Egyptian scholar of the Roman era, and he is also known for his works in astronomy, geography, and optics. However, the Tetrabiblos remains one of his most influential works due to its profound impact on the development of astrology. Now, the title translates to 4 books, as the work is composed of 4 separate books. These books systematically compile and organize the astrological knowledge of the ancient world, drawing from many sources from the Greek and Egyptian. Now, more historical perspectives on astrology. This is Hippocrates. Often considered the father of medicine, Hippocrates suggested the relevance of astrology to medicine. He is quoted as saying, "A physician without knowledge of astrology has no right to call himself a physician." Now, Hippocrates, the ancient Greek physician often hailed as the father of medicine, held a profound belief in the integration of astrology with medical practice. Living in the 5th century BCE, his approach to health and disease was holistic, emphasizing the importance of environmental and psychological factors alongside physical symptoms. This perspective naturally extended to include the celestial influences on human health, which was a common belief in ancient Greek culture. Now, here we have the zodiac and body associations. Here you have a list of the zodiac signs, the zodiac uh, separated into 12 distinct uh, components. And here it is the parts of the body that are generally associated with uh, each sign. For instance, you see Aries. There's the body associations that generally are um, connected to Aries would be the head, face, brain, and eyes. Uh, Aries rules the head, leading to its natives often being headstrong and direct. If we look down the line, let's look at Pisces here, which I am a Pisces. The feet are associated with Pisces. So you have the feet, the lymphatic system, uh, adipose tissue, which would be, the around the stomach region. Pisces governs the feet, reflecting its role in support and the end of cycles, as well as its potential for spiritual and emotional absorption. Right. So, in the context of medical astrology, I mean, the idea was that different zodiac signs ruled different parts of the body and aspects of health. So, understanding these associations allowed physicians to diagnose and treat illnesses based on both the symptoms presented and astrological conditions at the time. For instance, a patient suffering from a liver ailment might be treated differently if Mars was in a sign that adversely affected the organ. This is Johannes Kepler, 17th century. Kepler, a key figure in the scientific revolution, was also an astrologer. He is known for his work, or he is, sorry, I apologize. He is known for his quote, "Astrology is a science in itself and contains an illuminating body of knowledge. It taught me many things, and I am greatly indebted to it." These perspectives showcase the historically rich and complex view of astrology, blending empirical observations with mythical elements and its perceived importance in different areas of life and knowledge. Despite its historical significance and cultural impact, astrology is often categorized as a pseudoscience by the modern scientific community because its foundational claims lack empirical evidence. Now, key aspects of astrology. Astrology divides the celestial sphere into 12 signs of the zodiac, each representing different characteristics and tendencies. A horoscope is an astrological chart or diagram representing the positions of the sun, moon, planets, astrological aspects, and sensitive angles at the time of an event, such as the moment of a person's birth. Now, more key aspects of astrology. Natal. Uh, this is the most common form of astrology where astrologers create a birth chart to analyze and predict aspects of an individual's personality and life path. Here on the right, um, if you're actually watching a video, and if you're listening to this uh, on streaming or uh, wherever you get your podcasts, on the right, I have uh, a natal chart, um, which is the most common chart most people can probably recognize or see. Um, Now, to create a natal chart, you typically need the following details. You would need uh, date of birth, exact day, month, and year you were born. You would need time of birth, the exact time of your birth, and usually this is found on your birth certificate. Place of birth, the exact location of your birth, including the city and country. Now, with this information, astrologers calculate the positions of the planets and other celestial bodies at the time of your birth. The chart displays these positions within the 12 houses and signs of the zodiac, which are supposed to influence various aspects of your personality and life path. Now, another key aspect of astrology, this is mundane. This branch of astrology focuses on world events and larger societal trends, using the movements of celestial bodies to predict outcomes affecting nations and communities. Now, astrologers often look at the position of slower moving planets such as Saturn, Uranus, uh, Pluto to predict significant societal shifts. For instance, the presence of Pluto in Capricorn, which started in 2008 and continues until 2024, has been interpreted by astrologers as a period marked by the transformation, Pluto, of governmental and corporate structures, Capricorn. Uh, Pluto representing the governmental and corporate structure. Well, let me think about this. Transformation would represent Pluto, and then you have governmental and corporate structures which would be represented by Capricorn. So now this is aligning with global financial crisis and shifts in political power structures. Now, another key aspect of astrology would be electional. Electional astrology is used to determine the most auspicious time to begin something important, such as starting a business or getting married or making a significant purchase. The idea is to choose a time when the celestial influences are most favorable to ensure the success of the endeavor. Now, if someone, here's an example now, if someone wanted to open a new business, an electional astrologer would look for a time when the moon is well aspected, avoiding times when the moon is void of course, which is not making any major aspects before it leaves a sign. Additionally, ensuring that Jupiter, planet of growth and expansion, is prominent and well aspected could be seen as favorable for business success. Another key aspect is horary. Horary astrology is used to answer specific questions by casting an astrological chart for the time the question is asked. The astrologer then interprets this chart to provide answers based on the positions and aspects of the planets. Now, suppose someone lost an important item and asked, "Where's my lost wedding ring?" The astrologer would cast a chart for the time and place the question was asked. The position of the significators, planets representing the querent and the lost object in the houses and their aspects to other planets, would guide the astrologer in answering where the ring might be found. For instance, if the significator of the lost item um, of the lost item, let's see, of the lost item in the fourth house, representing home, among other things. Uh, the astrologer might suggest that the ring is somewhere in the querent's home. Each of the branches uses foundational principles of astrology, but applies them in ways that are tailored to very different contexts and needs. Core aspects of astrological belief: cosmic influence. Now, astrology operates on principles or on the principle that celestial bodies have a different influence on earthly events and individual behaviors. This can encompass everything from personality traits determined by the positions of the planets at birth in natal astrology to predicting economic trends, political changes, or natural disasters in mundane astrology. Symbolic language. Astrology uses a complex system of symbolic language where each celestial body, zodiac sign, and astrological house represents specific facets of life and personality traits. For instance, Mars symbolizes aggression and conflict, while Venus relates to love and beauty. Birth chart interpretation. A natal or birth chart is a snapshot of where all significant celestial bodies were located in the zodiac at the exact moment of an individual's birth. Astrologers interpret these positions to derive insights into the person's character, potential life experiences, strengths, and challenges. All right. Now, this is another core aspect of astrological belief, which is the predictive tool. Astrology is used as a predictive tool to forecast upcoming events or phases in an individual's life. This is achieved by analyzing the movement of planets, which are transits and progressions, and other astrological techniques to predict cycles and significant shifts. Guidance and self understanding, uh, which is another core aspect. Many people use astrology as a tool for self discovery and personal growth. Understanding the astrological influences can help individuals make informed decisions in their personal and professional lives, enhancing self-awareness and understanding of others. Now, let's look at historical and cultural context. Throughout history, astrology has been used not just for personal insight, but also to guide leaders in decisions of state, agriculture, and even medical practices. For example, electional astrology was often used to determine the most auspicious dates for battles, coronations, or the signing of treaties. One notable example is the coronation of Queen Elizabeth I in 1559. Her advisors consulted astrologers to choose a date that would align with favorable astrological conditions, aiming to ensure a prosperous and stable reign. Similarly, during medieval times, astrologers were consulted to determine the best times to plant crops or to undergo medical treatments, integrating celestial observations with everyday decision making. Astrology's methods and popularity have varied across cultures and epochs, but it has consistently provided a framework for understanding the unseen, influences that are believed to shape our world, despite being regarded with skepticism and classified as pseudoscience in modern scientific circles due to a lack of empirical evidence and uh, reproducibility. Astrology continues to hold a significant cultural position in many societies, serving both as a spiritual experience and a form of entertainment. Now, astrology is often used both as a form of divination and as a psychological tool, each serving distinct purposes and reflecting different aspects of its application. Now, astrology is historically and popularly used as a form of divination, which is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. In astrology, this is achieved by interpreting the movements and relative positions of celestial bodies. Practitioners believe these cosmic patterns can forecast future events and reveal hidden information about an individual's life or collective trends. This form of divination is particularly prominent in mundane Astrology for predicting events on a larger scale, such as elections and natural disasters, and in horary astrology, where specific questions are answered based on the chart of the moment the question is asked. Now, astrology as a psychological tool. Uh, Astrology also functions as a psychological tool by providing a framework for self understanding and personal insight. Now, the psychological approach to astrology focuses on the symbolic meanings of the planets and signs as part of the human psyche. The birth chart in this context is seen as a map of the individual's personality, including strengths, weaknesses, and potential growth areas. Psychological astrologers use this information to help clients explore their personal dynamics, improve interpersonal relationships, and make choices that are aligned with their inner tendencies and life path. This approach emphasizes personal growth and self reflection, making astrology a valuable tool for introspection and psychological exploration. Now, psychological astrology focuses on personal insight and growth, using natal charts to understand individual psychological traits. Divination astrology is about predicting future events and providing guidance using techniques like horary and electional astrology to foresee and influence outcomes. Astrology across cultures. Now, astrology has a rich and diverse history stretching across various cultures around the world. Each culture has developed its own unique form of astrology, influenced by its philosophical, philosophical, philosophical. I am I am struggling today, people. We gotta we have a newborn, so I am without sleep. So you're gonna have to bear with me because uh, my the synapses and neurons in my brain are not firing as they should. So at some point, I will get a good night's sleep, and this series will be a little tighter. So just bear with me. Now, let's all right. So where was I? I think I was talking about astrology as okay. Uh, Now, each culture has developed its own unique form of astrology, which is influenced by its philosophical and astronomical knowledge. Here's a brief overview of how astrology has evolved across different cultures. Now, this is the Babylonian astrology. Um Astrology began in ancient Mesopotamia with the Babylonians around the second millennium BCE. Now, astrology began in ancient Mesopotamia with the Babylonians. They developed one of the earliest forms of astrology as part of their sophisticated system of celestial omens. Their astrological documents included the Enuma Anu, Enlil, a series of tablets detailing omens and their interpretations based on planetary positions and lunar eclipses. Babylonian astrology laid the foundational elements for what would later evolve into the astrological systems in the West. Egyptian astrology. The Egyptians integrated astrology into their architecture. The Egyptians integrated astrology into their architecture, notably in the alignments of their pyramids. Astrology in Egypt was closely linked to their calendar and astronomy, with a particular emphasis on the stars. They used astrological knowledge for both divination purposes and to organize their agricultural and ritual calendars. The Greeks adopted and expanded Babylonian astrology around the 4th century BCE. The Greeks adopted and expanded uh, Babylonian astrology with significant features such as, or with significant figures such as Ptolemy influencing its development. Ptolemy's work, the Tetrabiblios, which we discussed earlier, or that we mentioned, became a crucial text outlining the theoretical and practical aspects of astrology. This period saw the birth of the zodiac signs and uh, the horoscopic astrology, which involves the casting of horoscopes based on the exact time of birth. Chinese astrology. Now, Chinese astrology is markedly different from Western practices. It is intertwined with Chinese philosophy and includes elements such as the theory of the five elements, the yin and the yang, and animals of the Chinese zodiac. Chinese astrology is used for predicting personal fortune, determining the best times for actions like marriage or starting a business, and for identifying personal traits. Indian astrology or Vedic astrology. Originating in the Vedic texts, Indian astrology is deeply intertwined with Hindu practices and philosophy. It includes three branches. Uh, it's the Siddhanta astronomy, the Samhita mundane astrology, and the Hora predictive astrology. Vedic astrology uses the sidereal zodiac, which is aligned with the fixed stars, unlike Western astrology that uses the tropical zodiac based on the seasons. Islamic astrology. In the medieval period, Islamic scholars made significant advances in astrology. They were crucial in preserving and expanding upon Hellenistic astrological texts. Islamic astrology flourished during the Islamic Golden Age, with many scholars also contributing to advancements in astrology, which were critical for more accurate astrological predictions. Western astrology. Now, from the Renaissance and onwards, astrology in Europe underwent various periods of popularity and decline. During the Renaissance, astrology was considered a scholarly tradition studied in universities. The Enlightenment, the Enlightenment, and the rise of the scientific method later led to a decline in astrology's academic standing, though it was and has seen a resurgence in popular culture in the 20th and 21st centuries. Each culture's approach to astrology reflects its own cosm- cosmological views and the importance of celestial events to that society. Despite the skepticism in scientific circles, astrology remains a significant cultural and spiritual phenomenon worldwide, highlighting its enduring appeal across different epochs and societies. Now, let's talk about synastry. What is synastry? Synastry is a branch of astrology that examines the relationships between two individuals through the comparison of their astrological charts. It is often referred to as a relationship astrology, as it analyzes how the planets in each person's chart interact with each other to understand the dynamics of their relationship. The goal is to identify areas of harmony and challenge between the partners, offering insights into how they affect each other emotionally, mentally, and sometimes physically. In synastry, an astrologer looks at various aspects, which are specific angles the planets make to each other um, across two charts. For instance, if one person's Mars is conjunct in the same place as the other's Venus, it might suggest strong physical attraction, but also potential for conflict depending on other aspects. By studying these planetary interactions, synastry can provide a deep look at the underlying dynamics of a relationship, helping partners to better understand and navigate their connections. Now, let's look at some misconceptions of astrology. We have determinism, perfect matches, and overemphasis on sun signs. Now, um, I guess I want to say uh, is now the most significant, I guess, how do I say? All right. So the most significant critique of synastry and astrology in general is the lack of empirical knowledge or empirical evidence supporting its effectiveness or reliability. Critics argue that astrology does not adhere to scientific methodologies, and its predictions are too vague and, I guess, non-falsifiable. But now skeptics argue that positive experiences with synastry readings can be attributed to confirmation bias, where individuals give more weight to experiences and interpretations than confirm their beliefs and desires, while discounting those that do not. Um, there is concern that relying on astrological interpretations can lead to self fulfilling prophecies. If a synastry reading suggests a particular dynamic will occur, individuals might unconsciously behave in ways that encourage that outcome, regardless of the inherent nature of their relationship. Now, despite these criticisms, synastry remains a popular tool among followers of astrology for navigating interpersonal relationships, offering a unique perspective on how individuals interact with each other based on their astrological signs and planetary positions. Now, that concludes part one of beginner's astrology. We will be doing part two, hopefully soon, perhaps tomorrow. But we'll go ahead and get that recorded, and we'll have that ready as well. Again, hopefully this will be 5 to 6 um, part series, just to kind of go over it, or go over the basics of astrology. And um, once we kind of have that, we can go into perhaps some intermediate stuff, and then some more advanced stuff. Um, but again, just take this information and do your own research as well. If there's some things in here that you weren't aware of, um, take the time to kind of do some digging and research on that, and just to be familiar with some of the terms, the terminology and such. Now, I will be covering that. I mean, in the next video, we'll be covering the actual signs. We'll go over the zodiac signs, and then the traits that are kind of related to each sign and such. So we'll go over that. We'll have some examples and some things of that nature. So it should be fun. Uh, but again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I promise we'll get better. Um, right now I'm a little sleep deprived. Having a newborn kind of does that. But I want to thank you guys, for anyone for watching, showing up. Again, liking, commenting, or subscribing. We're going to bring you more of this type of content. So, all right. Thanks.